Takes
All right, it
11,000.
is 5:35.
That's like you can pay your house off.
October
and still owe.
30th of 2023, or 2023, yeah, that's the year. And this is a finance committee meeting. In attendance, we have myself, Councilperson Wolf, we have Council President Bruger and Councilperson McNamara. No, you're not McNamara, you're Cameron. Wow, man, that's really, I didn't even mispronounce camera, I just got it wrong.
You got the wrong person completely.
You got the wrong man. Okay, sorry about that. I apologize. You were looking, kind of slim today.
Oh, good, I'll take that.
And of course, Jeffrey Wilczek, Village Fiscal Officer. Mr. Wilczek, take it away.
Okay, well, I have a list of things to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
I kind of put a quickie agenda in front of everybody up there.
Yep.
I'm also gonna make use of our large screen TV.
Fabulous.
So,
Right.
the first thing I want to talk about is our capital projects. Okay? And up first, we'll talk about the projects with the TIF bond proceeds that we've got. Building construction contracts are hitting $3.2 million on this place with all the change orders that have come through.
Is that a final number?
Actually,
I thought
that
it-
number just went up about $3,000 because they have another change order.
Okay, I was asking because I actually thought it was higher than that, so.
Well, the construction is correct. But adding to the furnishings and the network equipment,
Puts it up to 3.4.
yes,
Okay,
okay?
cool.
So we're getting there. I kind of anticipate sometime late this year or first of next year that we'll make final payments and containers and stuff.
We still have old numbers up there, don't we?
For which?
For what?
I love dredging the lake, construction 800,000.
Well,
Oh, remember those days?
No, it's two,
8 maintenance,
Oh,
1.6.
okay.
yeah.
I thought those were just like, oh yeah, those were the numbers we thought last time we looked at this, like the 5-year forecast. And I was gonna be like, remember those days?
Somewhere in there, dredging the lakes is the next big one that's coming into play. As Eric told me tonight, we need to look at 200 grand for engineering. And hopefully we can eke by with 1.6 million on the construction side. And I'm kind of wondering whether we're gonna hit part of 24, part of 25 on that, or all 25. I don't know which way it's gonna be. So either way, it's still gonna be the same dollars.
I will say with all the information the engineers have given to us, we're gonna be lucky to pull it under 3. And that's with big, or under 2 maybe.
Yeah, no, I think in what we saw from Mike last,
Yeah.
the only feasible plan that we had at that point was dredge the South Lake, fill the North Lake, and he hadn't done enough engineering on that to give a real number, but his back of the envelope number that night was like 2 million. Now, whether his engineering brings that number down or pushes it up, that I don't know, but I think.
So we'll go back to my, wasn't it nice when we thought that was all it was gonna count cost comment?
So
No, for the
either
record,
way,
I think we always thought it was gonna be about 2 million.
Yeah.
I just think we thought we were gonna get both lakes
well, we're sitting
dredged for
there
that.
at 1.8 with the engineering.
Yeah,
So
so maybe that's close enough.
some challenge, yeah, I'm gonna hope. Some
Yeah.
challenges would exist coming up with another couple $100 grand with that. That's certainly gonna be
Bake sale.
tough, okay? Amphitheater, I'm not sure where that's really gonna finalize. I don't think we're gonna hit the 90K, but we get 2/3 of what we spend back from the state. So that'll go back in the pot with the TIF bond proceeds that we can utilize for the projects. And make up
All of
for
this,
getting the
this is
lakes
all
dredged.
on this paper in front of me, isn't it?
Yes.
If I don't wanna keep looking up.
So, our other challenge is still our maintenance building. We're trying to work out how we're gonna deal with this one yet. I do know there's site work to be done. And we're not looking for a very fancy building out there either.
Right.
maybe over a couple of years, you can enhance that building and take care of a few other things, okay? I do know we need to get electric, water, sewer, and if there's natural gas out there, that would be great
There
to
is.
get that out there so you can heat the building down the road.
It can't be
There,
too far.
there should be, because I'm across the street and I have a natural gas line.
Okay.
So I know there's, at least my house has natural gas,
Yeah.
so I imagine there's a line that runs on that street.
The question is, what's gonna cost us to get it
Hooked in.
building? Right. So, all of that is with the TIF bond proceeds. Those two items got covered with the interest earnings that I did on the bonds.
Nice.
So, we still got a couple $1 million being invested yet, so hopefully that's gonna come back into play and give us some additional funds to put towards these projects. And, yeah, and as bad as interest rates going up, it's helpful for us right now, but I realize too, in the grand scheme of things, it's also hurting a lot of people. So, but in this case, I'm gonna take the interest revenue, okay? This one, I don't know what's gonna happen, so there may be where we could cough up another 75,000.
Well, wasn't
We'll
the,
have to wait and see.
A lot of that, oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
wasn't paths really kind of us connecting Jordan Road?
So there were two path projects that have been
Okay.
bandied about for a while.
What's the second?
One is obviously connecting Jordan
Oh,
Road.
I know.
The other one is over there between
The fit-offs.
the Tidoffs and,
Flanagan's.
there you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
On that unimproved right of way.
Okay.
But
So,
75 grand isn't enough to do either of them. So,
Yeah, and as we were talking a little bit earlier, there's a lot of grant money coming out now for paths.
yeah.
So we are gonna try and go after it.
yep.
And get,
And part of Mike's back of the napkin math was also putting in a path,
Right.
which was included in that 2 million.
Right. A path. So if the lakes,
So I'm just
in
saying.
terms of the pecking order though, the paths are at the bottom of the list.
Sure.
Yeah.
sure.
Didn't say that. You know, the priority is in that order that they're presented right now.
But
Yeah.
sure, but what would be nice is if that 75 grand
Yeah,
can get the path
Right.
as part of that lake project, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we're saying we might add to
yeah.
Right.
So we still,
the answer to that.
we can tweak these around yet as to where some things go. But the idea is we're focusing in on some things.
That's what we had originally put the TIF funds through, that's what we spent of them, that's what we still have.
Yep.
Just a little side note with the TIF. We had to advance $230,000 last year to make a debt service payment. And I was hoping to pay back 115 this year, 115 next year. It's not happening. I will get 75,000 paid back this year, 75 next year, and 80 the following year.
Do we need new legislation on that? Because I believe that repayment was outlined in the legislation.
I'm pretty certain I put in the legislation that it be repaid.
But I thought-
It didn't have to go back to council because it gave me the authority to do it.
Okay.
What, I'm sorry, I missed. Why?
Repayment of the advance.
No, I understand that part. Why don't we have the money? Why don't we have what we were expecting? It was the leftover from
The
TIF, right?
TIF dollars coming in
Right?
haven't quite hit as high as they were anticipating.
Okay.
So I haven't been able to repay the advances
Okay,
in as much as I planned.
gotcha. So we were thinking X amount was gonna come in and it's low.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Right. Take a little bit
That's
longer.
the part of this.
Yes, so just wanted to update you on that one. Moving on down our list here, and please, if there's some other things that come into play or the order, timing, by all means, let me know, okay? Maplewood, the engineering is in progress, and according to Mike, that's gonna get bid either late this year or very early next year for construction next year. Okay? And that's gonna be financed by the street maintenance fund. Okay?
So that is, just to make clear on that, that is already in the works, that money is earmarked, it's there, you're letting us know it's going ahead and happy.
The only part that's appropriated
Okay,
is the 63,000.
for the engineering, we haven't appropriated, okay.
Correct.
I was really hoping that had already been appropriated
But
in
it's on
our
the
rear view.
list and it's putting it into the 5-year projection and so on, so we're trying to make sure we cover it.
Right.
I don't want to
The
use your
numbers in-
words or something like that.
The numbers in 2024 are what we will be appropriating
Yes.
when we pass this budget.
And you have built them to coincide with having enough money to cover those numbers.
Yes.
Okay.
Valley Road.
Man.
This one is up in the air as to when it really will get done. So long as things remain affordable, it could get done next year. Or we can delay it and address it with the pool. Or we can do the construction side of things and hold off on the final coating or the layer, final top coat, until after whatever's gonna take place with the pool is done, then we fix that.
When you say Valley Road, that's the road that goes to the pool, the little split?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the.
It took, I was, yeah, I was,
I think a question would be, if we decide to go forward with the pool project,
Coming down to that.
I know it's not there, based on initial conversations with the engineers, the pool engineers, it sounds like we would have to have larger pipes put in. Would we just have to tear up what we'd already,
Well, that's a conversation I've been having with Mike several times.
okay,
He's very much aware of that. So that's why we're kind of, yeah, when are we really gonna do it? The other thing I'm looking at is cost and timing with that cost, okay? It might also be one of those things where it just becomes more advantageous to do it when you construct the parking lot for the pool. Again, I'm making an assumption there on that,
Sure.
okay? So the engineering, as I noted, is being done with Maplewood at the same time. So we'll have the engineer done, we just gotta decide.
as long as we have the guy out here doing it, we might as well say, take a look at this road too.
Yes.
Bundle them.
Big project coming up. Engineering is already started on it. We're looking at 2025 for construction. And that is the leg of Minerva Lake Road from Route 3 up to Fairview. And there's several pots of money going with this one. But the biggest thing that we need, and we've got a grant guy that's gonna be coming after or helping us out with it, we gotta get a loan to help cover some of that cost. By about $500,000. Now, that will be paid for out of the street fund going down the road. Okay?
And that would be a Ohio Public Works
Yes.
Commission, probably interest-free loan?
I don't think
Or-
you're seeing any more interest rate.
Okay,
Now,
Cheap
cheap interest,
loan.
I hope. Maybe
Okay.
about 3%.
okay, so back when interest rates were 4%, we could get it for free. Now that they're 8%, we can get it for 3 or 4. Hopefully.
Yes, but, so we'll have some of the street maintenance money, our permissive motor vehicle license money with the county. That is gonna be about 150, 160 grand there coming into play. Hopefully some OPWC grants and loans. Pathways, we feel we can get some grant dollars to cover that stretch. I cannot use road money or street money to cover paths. Just, that's not.
And when you say paths, are you talking about like putting a path on the side of the road?
Yes.
We put in a walking path on Minerva Lake Road, not just the road that it is now.
Correct.
I think,
And you're saying that we could do that for 25 grand?
That was the number that Flickinger threw out to me.
Well, that's a great number. At one point I was like, do we need paths? But if we can do it for 25 grand and give someone essentially sidewalks, yeah.
Keep
yeah,
in mind, you get all the construction equipment and everything else out there, so.
Yeah, it's,
yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So my,
Well, we're not- I mean,
my
but, yeah.
understanding about that part of it is that it's kind of like the asphalt that we have walking paths.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that we're hoping to tie in with the bike path project grant to get some grant money for
Oh.
it, is what I've heard. I
Yeah.
don't know, is that kind of what you're hearing? Okay.
Yeah, and again,
Sounds like this is a
These are
lot of
estimates.
details that we don't have yet.
so these are estimates, so the numbers may
Yeah,
change.
right.
Hopefully not upwards.
Right,
Because when we first started talking about this, we were thinking $500,000 for that section of
yeah.
Minerva Lake. And then all of a sudden, we're like 750 to $1 million. And now we're still hanging at $1 million, and it's a little scary.
How does that end of Minerva Lake Road tie into that other project of connecting the park down the street to the Allen Creek Trail, do you know?
So I don't know that it actually will, right? Because I don't think they're gonna touch the road, they're gonna build up to the road and then cross the road
Is that where,
and build across, yeah, because it's that greenway,
because it looked like it was
What's
going
his
like
name?
behind AEP, between the school and.
right.
I just don't know exactly where it comes out.
David Wesley Hayes'
Okay,
house, right?
so it
There's,
comes out
there's
there.
there's like a 20-foot span
Uh-huh.
just,
Between the apartments and the.
and David Wesley Hayes'
Oh, yeah.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. And, yeah, so that's
Okay,
where that is.
That's where it will come out.
And, right,
So
So
we're
there'll
hoping
be
it
some
crosses.
connection in some way to that.
yeah, it'll be like a
Not much,
curve
but yeah.
or.
Okay.
But, you know, you'll still be crossing Route 3 at some point, because
Right.
no one's gonna build a bridge. But, you know,
Supposedly, Coda's got something going on where they're gonna have piles of money for paths, so maybe we'll be able to get that.
I don't think let's put it this way, we're not gonna be building a bridge, let's hope someone else does and we can use it.
Or hopefully someone will give us money to do it.
So,
Yeah. Carlton Court, East Shore, Northland.
well, I put those three on there, and I gave a copy of the
Street assessment.
pavement condition assessment. Those three roads are all very poor and are gonna require some attention. I highlighted the ones that are very poor that are on here.
Yeah.
I don't know timing on any of it. I don't know how much cost, but I put them on the list because we've got to address it. The one thing that I'm going to suggest and we'll get Jesse to look into is whether Northland Plaza, whether we could special assess that one. They're all businesses along there.
Right.
It won't affect any resident. And we'll look and see whether we can do it that way. That'll get that taken care of. As far as the other two, I'll have to have a conversation with Flickinger and see what we're up against on this. And then some timing and so on. But I will be honest with you, much beyond 25, resources for road improvements are starting to get scarce. Okay?
Well, I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of fairs on here. I mean, I'm hoping fair is above satisfactory.
I don't know.
So, one thing I want to suggest, and I hesitate a little bit, but I'm going to say it anyways. Minerva Park does not have 4 of the $5 increments on your license tax. Everybody else in Franklin County is paying it. So we'll add $20 to each vehicle that you have to register. Potentially, if we've got, 500 homes?
8.
Closer to,
800?
800. You
I'm sorry,
figure,
how many?
like
800.
800-ish.
Okay.
8.5.
So 800 homes, and everybody has at least 2 vehicles today. Yeah. So 800 times 5 is $40,000 extra a year. Yeah, so every 3 to 4 or 5 years, that generates a nice sum of money that is solely restricted to maintaining roads.
Okay.
And I think, I would encourage council to look at implementing those increments.
Put it on the work session list to discuss.
Yes. So,
this agenda. I figured this work session was still gonna be mostly, code rewrite.
Yeah,
Mary Yost Fund. In the last, since 2016, the village has spent a whole $2,000 out of this fund. So it's kind of getting to the point where either we go back to the family and we get the restrictions lifted on this as to how we can spend the money, or we give it back to them. Because we're not doing anything with it. It's kind of not good.
so planning and zoning was discussing that exactly, and there was some conversation about turning one of the ponds into like a Mary Yost pond and buying a whole lot of native this, that, and the other to put around that pond. I know it can only
Pond
be
in the
used.
new section,
Yes.
or these big ones?
Oh, no, the little
One of-
ponds.
Yeah, one of
Okay,
The trail ponds, as I like to call
the, yeah.
okay. It would be great if we could come up with a
Yeah, I
project.
don't, we haven't quite gotten that far yet, but it is in the works.
them. It's on
Okay.
radars.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm really glad to hear that one because,
We're always trying to figure out how to spend that money. It's just that the, you know, if someone has an appetite to go and see if we can get those restrictions lessened, right? Like even if it could be used for the delivery of said
Yeah.
items and the installation of said
oh,
items,
that would be nice.
that would, I mean, it wouldn't take us an afternoon to spend that money.
Yeah.
It's really just that because you can only buy plants and only plants that fit the criteria, right? And that's why it's so damn hard to spend.
I'll reach out to Jesse and see what we can find out and what we can do with that.
Yeah.
We've also talked about using some of it to redo the monuments around the plantings around the monuments in the park, so.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
we're always trying to figure out how to spend it.
We just
It
haven't
always
yet.
just comes back to the same problem. It's that, sure, we can buy $1,000 in plants, but then where do we get the $1,000, you know, the $3,000 worth of labor to plant those plants?
Yes. So, moving on, storm sewer projects. Right now, the biggest one is Jordan. And I don't know if I understood Mike's recent email. I think we got the last parties signed off.
I had heard we were still waiting on the one. Yeah.
Jeff said it's done.
Last I
I'm
heard,
not 100% certain I read that right.
yeah, last I heard we were waiting on one, but we were at least in contact with that one.
So, my understanding too is if that doesn't get started very, very soon, we're gonna run into a problem of timing of when it does get done. So.
It's gonna be winter.
Either way, if the dollars are appropriated and they're encumbered, because we have a contract with the company to do the JL something or another. Okay? This is something I mentioned that Eric and I were talking about. I'm not sure exactly how this one's gonna come back into play or what with it yet, but there's a drainage issue up there. So, further conversation with Eric on that one and timing, okay? Swimming pool. I've looked at the numbers and best that I think you can afford to do is a $2 million project out there. Give or take a little bit more, not much more. I have a little buffer out there in case of change orders and added costs. So it could go a little higher, okay? Normally you look at a 10% number and I can cover 10% higher, but don't want to go. My suggestion, and I've heard a few things thrown out. One was to put a bond levy on the ballot and have people vote. I would really discourage you doing that. If the vote comes out no, it's suicide to do anything else.
And then if it comes out no, the village has spoken.
Now, if you go the route of issuing $2 million in bonds payable from income tax, you can move forward with the project. You just gotta scale it down to the $2 million range.
I'm not sure it's scalable down that low.
I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah,
Can we do half and half? Like, do 2 million bonds and then the rest levy, so it's not as painful?
I mean, I think we can probably, like, 4 might be, but
well, one question I had in what you just said is even bonds payable from income taxes, that's still voted debt, right? That still has, that is not voted debt?
No, that is
Is that then,
authorized by council.
is that then from our unvoted debt limit?
No.
All right, this is new magic then. I've never heard of this magic, so you're gonna have to explain a little better.
It would not count against the debt limit because it's payable from a designated source.
So it's encumbering
You
our,
would be having to set aside $160,000 a year to pay the debt on that for 20 years.
And it'd be like appropriating that on the day we pass this, like, and by the way, 160, no matter what else, this 160 grand is, the first 160 grand of income tax has to go to this.
Yes.
Is that, did I finally say one right? Because I usually am like this close, but way off.
You're thinking down the right road. Okay.
yeah, that is a lot.
Again, my estimates on income tax are pretty conservative. So if it really does go up more than what I anticipate, you may have a little more leeway there. But it's just the buts.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
It may take a little more thinking and creativity on everybody's part to come up with the money.
Cards on the table, do we really think that we would in earnest start that work next year?
the engineering company said it can absolutely be started the day after the pool closes.
Well,
I mean, so,
oh, you mean construction?
Yeah,
Could absolutely. No, I didn't mean can. Do we really think that's how we're going to go? Like, do we think that we could, if money weren't an issue, do we think we would really have decisions made and marching orders ready for people to break ground next year? Because, I mean, the pace of how things get done around here, I don't necessarily think that's a reasonable thing. I think that we could reasonably push all of that out a year, give us a little more time to plan, look for cheaper alternatives, all of that, and, another year of pinching what pennies we can to help
Yeah.
pay
Limping
for it.
along with the pool we have now.
Yeah,
Because if we're doing a replacement, we're doing a full tear down anyway.
right.
It's not like, it's not like, oh, I might as well fix my brakes now, because if I fix them, then my tire, everything's yanked out anyway. You might as well wait till it explodes,
Can you
because
replace the existing pool, same size, for $2 million?
they said no.
some of that gets into,
Did not. But because we have to bring everything up to code, so it's not just the pool.
so we have to redo all the buildings no matter what, because we need new restrooms.
Which is half.
Can't we
We
break
need-
that into two pieces?
There's no cost savings to do that.
There's no savings, and once you do the pool, you have to do the bathrooms, so you would have to do the bathrooms first, because you're doing X percentage, now you have to be up to code, you'd have to do those first, and then the pool, and then that makes no sense, because you're building a line of
The things that we
buildings.
could spread out are like the parking lot.
Yeah,
Those
so
sort of things.
that's winter months, 8 months to get the thing done and ready to be open again.
Say that one more time.
They said yes, they can get
8
it
months,
done.
basically to,
They said it's, yes.
They said they all the time come in, and as soon as the ground thaws, they start, and pools are open, like that's
That's
an
the bread and
industry
butter.
standard.
yeah.
Yep.
So I can easily move that out.
Are people okay with that? That was just
I don't think we're gonna start
Crazy idea
anything
from
next
me.
year.
that's where I started, is if we don't actually think that we're gonna get to construction next year, I think it's a good idea to push it off for planning purposes. But if there really is an appetite, I'm not here to say,
I think the whole reason that we're not doing anything right now is because we really need to know, like, what is the dollar amount that we need
Yeah.
to shoot for? Because, you know, we already know what we kind of want.
right,
Now we need to go back to them and say, this is what we can afford, and let's figure out where we give and take. But I don't have that number to go back to the engineering company so that we can get it out to bid and figure
Yeah.
that out.
So, the other side of it, Brian's, if we push it out one more year, we get a better chance to see how some things are gonna play out with our income tax.
Sure.
Because the new school is jumping.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with all that. I do have a concern that because of the age of the pool, we're gonna get to a point where we're on borrowed time.
Sure.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So at any point in time,
that we could have a catastrophic.
we could have
failure.
something, yeah, in which case then that's a big deal, right?
I mean-
depending on when it happens.
I would say it's a deal when it happens. And it will be a very big deal and make a lot of people upset, but it's not something we can control. It's not like, well, we knew we thought it was gonna happen and we were hoping for one more year. That's not a plan. We didn't have the money this year. That was our only plan. Like, our plan was,
Right.
I hope my transmission doesn't die because I can't buy a new car. Well, and then my transmission dies next week. You weren't planning ahead. No, I was. I was hoping this didn't happen because I looked at my plans and said, I can't do anything about it.
But I think we have things like what happens if it happens in the middle of the summer? Do people get their money refunded? You know, those are the type of things that.
So you're saying we need to put on the bottom of that pool chart, no refunds after July 31st or June 31st.
I mean, I'm just, you know, it's
Well,
one
maybe
of
it's
those things
1/3.
you have to.
Yeah.
Two-thirds, one-third.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So, okay, well, let's leave it, go at 25, and let's see what else we can muster up with this. Okay?
Big sale.
So, all right, Parkland Fund, we got the shelter done, that was the
Yay.
contract cost on that. There was a fence also put in, but I didn't put that on here. That wasn't horribly expensive, okay?
Oh, good.
We still have the fountains, the electric work, I believe is done. That was 42 grand.
I know that I've seen electric boxes out there.
Yes.
And
So
there's-
now it's a matter of finding,
Unless they did it in the last week, there was actually not the meters installed yet. Did you see them?
I did not, I haven't looked that close. I know the shelter house has an outlet that looks like you can plug things into. And I thought I saw down by the trail ponds, some
Maybe
boxes.
they just finished it up then.
And they,
I saw it the other
they
day.
might have had the thing up, but not the meter. I might just be like, look, oh, there's a box that has wires near it. I bet that's electricity, we're done.
Right.
When they're like, no, that's the first thing, there's 2 more to go.
I'm sure Glendon Township is causing some delays, but, because they have to issue the permits. But when I walked over for the Halloween contest thing, there were not meters in any of them.
Okay,
So it would have been in the last week. They've done it.
okay, so maybe they're not
will the
finished,
meters be
finished.
installed prior to actually having something to,
I don't know, there's the big hole where the meter
Right.
goes, but I mean,
so, okay.
it was
Maybe
on
they
my
just
house.
decided to get us that electricity for free.
Yeah, maybe they're just, maybe AEP's finally, maybe someone forgot it and then it's
But
not
I
our
mean,
job.
we know what the price is, they're not changing the price, we have a
Yeah.
contracted price, so.
Actually, my understanding is electric work's done, it's paid for.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was, the meters are part of it. If they haven't put them in, you know, they can put them in when they want to start charging us for electricity, I guess.
It does leave money in that fund for fountains.
Which I think, last conversation I had with the mayor about that was, let's just wait till next year, we don't want to install them this year, only to winterize them.
Right.
So,
Makes sense. So,
How much is left in that fund now?
That's 75 grand there, I think we had 120 in the fund.
Okay, and I think we estimated about 25 for the fountains, does that sound?
To be honest, I don't have a memory that we had gone for fountains versus bubblers, but
Oh, we
if you
had
tell me.
gotten pricing, remember from Aqueduct?
Oh, I believe you, I believe that we did, I'm saying I don't, I've started that with, I don't remember
Okay.
the price breakdown, or if we had made the decision.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Something for-
I'm not at all saying it hasn't been discussed.
Get more information on to go with that, okay? And that'll be a conversation with Aqueduct.
Yeah.
So, one other item that is not on that list yet. There's 2 bridges out on the walking paths left over from the golf course. I know of 2 that are
I
a
think there
problem.
are 2 that are.
There's 2 that are a problem,
That's
there
right.
are 4.
I was wondering, I didn't understand that in what Mike gave us.
Yeah.
At first I thought there were only 2. And then when I walked the path, I was like, there's actually 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I wonder if one of them, he was talking about 3 10-foot instead of 1 30.
I don't know.
For a total of 30 feet. Anyways, go ahead.
So-
Yes, we have bridges. that need to be replaced.
Some initial
I see what you're saying there, okay, yeah.
initial report from Flickinger and Company
Yeah,
was about $300,000 a piece.
right. But that's a 2-year project, if I remember right.
Either way, there's no money for those right now.
Okay.
My suggestion on this is we can't help but the one that's gonna have abutments rebuilt. That's gonna be an expensive one. You also need the railings on it because they're supposed to be 4 feet. You got railings for golf carts. Okay? The other bridge, which is the V-shaped one that was looked at, my suggestion is you take that one out and somewhere along the path, find a much narrower place and look into putting a bridge there that would be less expensive.
Which one is that?
It's the one that's like this, bounces. It's a V-shaped one.
I feel like they're all bouncing now.
Okay, so if you're on the dam, you go down the dam and you cross, it's not that one. And then you go down past the lakes and under the overpass, is it that next one? That's right after the overpass before the largest of the path lakes? Okay, so that one.
I think that's the one we're looking at.
So-
I've only been down through there once.
Okay. That is the longest span in my mind, at
The
least.
longest span one is the one that's really a problem. That one we're probably gonna have.
And that one, you could, I mean, you're on this, because the river, the stream curves,
Yes,
and we go right before the curve, what you're saying is we might go down past the curve and find a shorter place to come back up.
I don't know if there is one, but if there is, I would encourage finding a shorter place in a smaller span bridge.
Because what you're saying is you can't find us $300,000 to replace that bridge
Not
next
twice.
year.
Each,
Yeah, well, no, I'm just talking about if that's the worst one.
yes.
You can't find the 300,000 to replace one, let alone 2.
My hope is, and this is really pushing out to 26, 27, 28 timeframe, is that some money begins to accumulate in the TIF fund that could be utilized to help cover the cost of these bridges.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking the same thing.
And that should happen.
How does that happen?
Well, hopefully those dollars increase some as far as what gets collected. And
Because what
the debt
you're
payment's
saying
fixed at
is-
$490,000 a year.
What you're saying is we borrowed X amount. If revenue from property taxes increased there, that's extra that did not borrow that we have to pay back, and that's extra we can just
Yes.
use.
Yes.
Okay.
Service payments.
I don't know, everyone else might have understood that, but I didn't until I said all that.
Mark, service
Service
payments.
payments. It's
Service
not-
maintenance.
It's not property taxes until the TIF is
Thank you.
dissolved.
There was something else.
Gotcha.
I just remembered something. There was something else that was passed by the General Assembly or brought up that may allow you to extend the life of the TIF. That would be a question for Jesse.
Well,
So,
Yeah, at some point, the question will be, would we want to do that? Because it's, you know, I don't know that I know that there's a real benefit to doing that. Because it's
Keeps a couple fingers out of the pie, it changes our hand a little bit where we have to spend it, but there's so much.
but there's
that
no, there's not a lot more money.
Not a lot of
right?
fingers in it now.
Well, right, the only fingers we're keeping out of it are Blendon.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not,
It's not a lot. It's almost a purely lack of fiscal discipline. We had to lock this into that money so we don't.
no.
And also so you can get the loan and get it all right away and not wait.
Well, I mean, the reason why the TIF exists at all is because MI wanted their 4 million.
Yeah.
yeah, they want to reimburse for the infrastructure.
And the only way to be certain that they were gonna do that is through a TIF and to obligate it through that.
So I'll factor some more of this back into the budget and see where some things fall out, okay? Be helpful on that one. I do have a list of a few other things to bring up. General fund, we can take a look at that one because I'm somewhat comfortable with where it's at. But, there's the allocation to debt service for $2 million in debt for the pool if we go that direction, okay? So we can tweak this a little bit, especially if we don't need to have the bond proceeds until a later year. But that may bring about $150,000 that we could set aside maybe for the pool improvements, and that'll give us a little bit more money there. Or if our dredging of the lakes becomes a problem, $150,000 that can redirect that way. The reason I put something at 24 is because the debt is not payable from property taxes. I try to keep 1 year's debt service as a fund balance. In case of a downturn in the economy, you've got a little more time to react and you have your debt service payments covered. Okay? That would still look attractive to whoever is willing to loan us the money. We do the same with the OPWC loans. There's 1 year's debt service setting in that fund to cover those things. Okay? Overall, I'll tell you some good things with general fund. We did have a conversation with Columbus Fire. We're working on trying to control the increase there. And I want them, I haven't seen it, Mayor's got something I haven't had a chance to see. There's about $40,000 in there that relates to inspections and compliance, and also where they come out and flush the hydrants, and check them supposedly twice a year. I want them to separate that out because that would be an allowable cost for the water maintenance fund. And then they say the general fund about 20 grand or so.
I don't know that they actually flushed our hydrants this year.
Yeah,
Good question.
I don't know that they did.
So
I'd
we've
like
also
to-
asked them to provide us with some kind of a reporting mechanism as to when some things take
Cruise
place.
performance, we'll pay you once we know you did it, because I don't remember seeing it.
Yes.
I don't remember this year seeing it at all.
So we're working with that, okay? We can go into these numbers at a next meeting a little closer, okay? I just want to highlight some things. Going down through. When I get down to here, looking at transferring out from general fund, $200,000 for pool improvement fund. That's where I said I could deal with about 10% change on that, Jason? Okay? If we're gonna delay it out another year, we might end up with maybe another 150. Okay? It depends upon what other projects come into play that want some of that money. So,
Which brings me to the question, Jeff, because I don't understand community finances as well as I should after 4 years on council. How much can we do something like setting back money for projects? How much pre-saving can we do? Can we take 5 years, put aside $200,000 a year for 5 years to get ourselves $1 million in cash, to then take out a $2 million loan and do a $3 million project? Or are we not allowed to hoard money like that?
You can set aside money into an improvement fund for that purpose. We've created a pool improvement fund, there is a storm sewer improvement fund, a sewer improvement fund, and soon to be a street improvement fund, okay? Where we accumulate some dollars to cover the cost of some of these projects. Because a lot of these projects, when you're talking $250,000, $500,000, $750,000, it takes a little bit of time to accumulate those dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, we can transfer and set aside money every year to do this stuff, but we gotta have money to do it first.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at general fund, the gray line, that's the fund balance, estimated fund balance at the end of each year going out. And yes, it's declining, okay? Mainly, we're transferring out a chunk of money to help cover some of these big projects. After 24, we're not transferring any money to cover projects, but we still have general fund declining in terms of its balance. So we've got to find a way to level off general fund so that we can maintain the current level of services that we're running. I'm still looking at general fund and trying to tweak some of the numbers to see how this comes out. At one point, we talked about a target carryover balance for general fund. I'm estimating 3 months worth of average expenditures. So you can see the number down below there. Out in 28, we're about $100,000 off on that. So somewhere along the lines, if we can get some additional resources to come in, or maybe income tax gets higher than what I've planned, estimated.
You mean we get more revenue from the same income tax, not
Yes.
raise income tax revenues?
Correct.
Right.
Okay?
You don't want anyone on listening to this at home to misunderstand that.
Maybe you look at a replacement levy versus a renewal levy on one of our 3 levies. Okay? That might help a little bit. There's just some unknowns as we look out that far. But there is a concern that we need to find a way to try and keep our expenditures within our revenues going forward.
Certainly.
Okay? And that's what I at least wanted to point out. It's always a challenge, but again, that's why we look out 5 years to see what we have to do.
Now, understanding these are crystal ball numbers because it is a 5-year forecast.
Yes.
But these are our numbers with right now, and this was with you thinking we were going to spend $2 million on the pool,
Yes.
$1.6 million on the lakes. All of that's baked into these numbers.
Yes, the lakes is covered by the TIF revenue.
Yeah, sure.
So
So
we're
that
good
didn't
there.
really affect this.
The pool is actually covered by an allocation of that
service.
service of income tax.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and you can see, I'm pretty conservative on the income tax.
Well, it's just nice to know that those numbers, we stay stable for 5 years.
Yeah.
Even if we had 150, 160,000 debt
Yeah.
service on a loan for the pool, we could service that and still be
So,
sliding but not
yes.
dropping off a cliff.
Right now, for 2023, income tax was originally estimated at about 1.8 million. I'm pretty certain or feel comfortable saying we're gonna hit 2 million.
Well, I mean, Minerva France and Minerva Park,
Yes.
that's 100, 120 employees, and teachers make okay money.
Yeah.
Average Westerville teacher pulls in 60 grand, 65 a year.
What I can tell you is, if for some odd reason there is any kind of a credit given, it will have a drastic impact on this. If you give a 1% credit, you may be cutting your income tax revenue in half.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no road improvements, no pool improvements. And keep in mind that a police officer runs you 100 to 120,000 each.
Yeah, I mean, aren't they, I mean, what percentage of our budget is spent on MPPD.
I think it's like 40%.
We have
About
1.3, okay, about 2/3. I mean, now mind you, again, for anyone who goes and listens to this is not Councilperson Berger talking about, do we need the police? They 100% make this place what it is in many different ways, and are the reason that we have an income tax, and that's why they get the lion's share of the money, because that's what we needed.
So,
But again, that's just also a reminder to why we can't cut our
Big
income
picture.
tax in half.
big picture, can't do that, but we still gotta watch how we do things. Last year with the police department, we were looking at trying to bring wages up, not being comparable to Westerville, Worthington, Glendon, but at least to some of the smaller departments around here. So we bumped them up 15% last year. Initially, we're thinking 12.5% for this year. I cut it back to 10, just because I need to get some dollars for other projects. And that still puts them in pretty good shape. So, there seems to be a number of new contracts being negotiated by the FOP, so we'll have to do a little more comparison down the line to see where we fall out, okay? On that.
I'm a public sector employee, I'm not gonna say we can't pay them what they need. Not allowed to, not saying that out loud.
Like I mentioned, for the police department, we're looking at 10% bump for them again this year. I should say this year as compared to the 15 they got last year.
And that'll be a little bit less than a 10% actual increase, because that, of course,
Yes.
supplies and materials aren't nothing. I mean, obviously personnel's, but fringe benefit, that's their insurance.
Yes.
If we give them a pay raise, that doesn't necessarily mean insurance goes up a ton.
However, let's talk about it.
Insurance always goes up, so.
We changed brokers with the insurance, because last 2 years, open enrollment was a bit of a disaster, okay? we were not happy with what's going on. Medical Mutual told us 17% increase this year.
Wow.
So we're out on the street looking. All the employees completed the information necessary for a quote to be solicited out there, and sometime the quote went out today. And in the next 2 weeks, we'll see what comes about. So somewhere between now and Thanksgiving, we'll meet with our broker to see what kind of deals came back. Medical Mutual also indicated that they weren't going to adjust 17%, but they would revisit it if we put it out on the open market.
Of course.
So I don't know what's going to happen with the healthcare care, but we certainly need to look at that and begin to control some costs there. Medical Mutual has been the provider for many years here and not been challenged. Okay, so while I wanted to do it next year, it became a necessity to do it this year. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping we can get something cheaper, yet still maintain the same level of benefits for everyone.
And do we do, this can't be how we do it, so, but it's dumb for me to even say, we don't do that on our own. Are we like in with some other people, or we just do it on our own?
We are fully insured, but because we're a small employer, it's a little bit harder. We are not part of a consortium,
Okay,
and we are not self-insured.
okay, so we're not like, hey, let's get together with, I don't know, OBET's police or this or that and all
Well,
of
there are some consortiums out there, but one has to be very careful with what you get into.
because then you're dragged along and not making your own choices.
You can bury yourself in a consortium real fast, and there's some out there that are just not run well. Okay.
Capital
Fair enough.
outlay, that's the vehicles?
Police capital outlay?
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Yes, it would be, but it's down below. You can either make your capital outlay part of the department or a separate line down at the bottom of the expenditures.
Okay.
If it was some small things, that's where it would go up in the department side.
So
But cars and some of the other bigger items are down below.
why is this year almost double than other years?
I'm sorry.
If you look in 2023, why is it double everyone else?
137, which is about double.
I'd have to go back and look and see what's in 2023, but you have your body cameras that come into play, and they get replaced every so many years. You've got radios that come into play. Your radar detectors and some of the equipment in the cars has to get replaced, or the computers. So there could be a number of things in there.
And then it all hit this year? It just all hit this year?
Did we do an extra car this year?
We just approved
I'm sorry,
another
we
one.
do have the car up here. There's one car this year, we have approved, a new car has been approved. So that'll be delivered next year, and it was just over, I want to say 60 something, or 60 grand.
That's what yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, did we do 2 this year?
And don't need to do one
and don't
next
do one
year.
next year? So then why is it that?
Well, the timing's really messed up on this,
Okay.
because you need to order it this year for
No, I get it.
delivery next year.
Yeah,
Right.
The car that was delivered this year was ordered in '23.
Okay.
Wait, hold on, no. The car that was delivered this year was ordered in '22.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm
Yeah.
thinking ahead.
and
But-
we're still getting to what I think Jason's saying is, why is this year almost
Yeah.
twice every other year on the fire
There's-
ground?
And then if what you're saying about body cams and all that type of stuff, I would imagine that they have a pretty regular cycle. So is 2028, should that be doubled up there as an estimate right now? I mean, I don't know when they're gonna hit it yet. That's-
Yeah, no,
That's a good question. I haven't gotten that kind of information pulled together.
Okay.
I'm trying to get everybody to think out 5 years.
Yeah, and can it be spread out? You know, can we do radar this year, body cams the next year, and instead of it all hitting at once?
something in the back of my head, and I should know this, but I don't. I almost think that we increased our fleet by 1 to
Yes, you
account for the school resource
Is that what it
officer.
is?
It's a stripped down car.
Yeah,
So
and
that, so
so
now
that
that
is
is
in.
So we didn't trade it off or sell it off. We kept it. We kept it. Typically, we buy a vehicle and we
So we
trade it
kept an
off.
older one, so that's not it. I was trying to remember why that.
Body
was.
cameras are in 137,000, and that was,
I mean, we have 10 people, I'm talking about more than 15 grand. How
Oh.
expensive are those cameras?
that was a server and everything.
They are,
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll
I'm thinking-
more technology, not just a slippery do.
I
I'm
mean,
thinking that was,
was it the fog cameras? Is it the radar sign? Is all that in there too, or?
no, I don't think those are in the
That's-
police.
You can.
yes, some of that is
Okay.
in there, and I have to go back and look, okay?
But, yeah, if you
But
don't,
I want to say there was 40-some thousand dollars for the body cameras, server and everything that goes with it. You've got the other cameras that were ordered Flock,
yeah.
but that was like 5 grand,
Oh, okay, fine.
okay? So. There it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Jennifer, I don't mean that, just need to stretch. Yeah.
That's okay.
It's really nice to look at it, and,
Yes.
from out here in the middle of the room, you can really see it. I don't know, it makes a difference.
Makes those numbers really
So-
pop for you.
It really does.
You know the TV moves.
So-
Pull it out.
Okay.
It's on top here.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that. It's on a swivel now.
Yeah, we could actually.
Oh, we should have had that swiveling at the last stupid, work session. I was thought to ask, I wonder if it's on a swivel, I'm like, no, they probably didn't put it on a swivel, but it's a really big one. But it's a really big LED TV, so it's still always 10
Isn't there,
pounds.
and aren't we supposed to have a TV back there too?
I'm sorry,
Aren't we supposed to have a TV in the back too? Tiffany said we're supposed to have 2 TVs.
there's one in the break room.
She said there's supposed to be one in the back there too, that's why there's a plate up in the ceiling.
Pull it out first.
Oh, no, I'm seeing it's definitely a swivel, I don't know if it's
So,
allowed though.
we've had a few surprises. We didn't think we had microphones. They appeared. Okay? We got hit with a monitoring contract for the fire system in here, $55 a month.
You can't pull it off.
So
How
there's
much?
little surprises
I
that
think I
keep
can't
popping
even, I
up.
can be scared that I will.
So, I need to go back on the healthcare.
Yeah,
And I need to let you know that the assessment in choosing where some things come out will happen somewhere closer to Thanksgiving. So it will take an ordinance for council to authorize potential change with this, or even if it stays medical mutual, and that will have to be done by emergency. And that would probably be the December meeting.
Now, you're doing already a $70,000 increase, give or take, which of the 31,000 is already 20% increase on your thing here, right? For fringe benefits from 312 to 384 is about a 17%
Yeah.
increase.
That number is actually driven by the salaries.
Oh, okay.
So in the healthcare, but I only factored in a 10 or 12% increase on healthcare.
Okay, so there's other things in there other than just straight healthcare.
Yes.
What's the big increase for 2024 for supplies and materials? I mean, it looks like going forward, it's twice what we.
There's
did.
$4,000,
We're gonna start using disposable product guns. No, it's not around here. That was a bad one to go with. What could I use? Disposable cars.
Uniforms. It was like, you know, you ever seen like
The
a wrestler?
disposable?
Yeah.
Did you watch that Daredevil show where
No,
Kingpin
no.
has the fancy bulletproof suit? We're getting all of those for the cops.
For reps, they can't, like, they don't have their own scrubs, so they don't get let them have scrubs, so it's like just a bodysuit that you tear away and you're good.
So was that the materials and supplies or contractual services?
It was
Supplies
supplies.
and materials.
Okay, so here's what's in supplies. Fuel costs has definitely gone up.
Operating supplies and materials, the big one,
Yeah.
65,000.
We've got maintenance of vehicles in there. Okay, so
Fix that one right there.
Yeah. Is that the type?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure where that number came from.
Yeah.
That'd be nice if it was a typo.
So, no, that helps us out a lot too.
Well, I mean, because if that was even just 6,600, like it was in 23,
I may have,
Like, why is it?
Yeah, you did put an extra.
I may have had a fat finger when I entered it and gave it an extra zero.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
yeah, if you
You'd
just.
save us a lot of money doing that.
Perfect.
Hey, we just found,
Get skinny your fingers.
we just found a bajillion. How much money did we find?
$58,000.
That was more reasonable, right?
Yeah,
I
that
really need, I'm still looking at this very close to try, because I found some of these elsewhere. But that was a good catch. Sorry about that.
Hey, can we have that money for the pool?
I'd like to get more chairs.
So, and again, I'm gonna repeat myself here, because I know council prefers to have 3 readings on things. That's not gonna happen with it.
Is there, I mean, can we start the reading and just say it's coming in later?
Yeah, but we don't.
I mean, you know how like we do the LEAF budget where we say, we'll fill in this.
We can't.
Well, keep in mind, healthcare is spread in various places, so all across. One thing with the healthcare, life insurance is built into the healthcare. for medical mutual. So we're also looking at whether that's gonna get separated out because of the change. Right? We only provide $20,000 or $25,000 worth of life insurance to our employees. So in trying to break that out, we're gonna look and see what else is available at what cost. And see if we can't bump that up a little bit without incurring any significant cost. The second part that goes with that is providing via payroll deductions, supplemental insurance for some of the employees beyond what we provide.
I don't think Jason was questioning the numbers or when you'll have the numbers, but rather procedurally, the sooner we can have a piece of legislation saying something along the lines of, hey, there's changes in healthcare,
Yeah.
you know, more details to follow.
I'll look
As
at
soon
the-
as we have enough to start a reading.
I'll look at the
you know,
ordinance that usually goes with that and see what we can do with it. Okay?
Yeah, because if we can put it on an agenda, even if we don't have the final details, you know, that first reading is largely a notice to the people, hey, this is a thing, be ready. right? And then,
I'll take a look at that ordinance and see what we can do with that. Okay. At least get it started. Couple other items that are not on the list that I need to let you know about. There will be a request for supplemental appropriations at the next meeting with a request that you pass it first reading. Keep in mind, it's not an emergency, just suspending. The reason being, we received an old bill from Motorola back a couple of years to the tune of $5,400 that relates to some equipment that they got, okay? It's legit. And it's not, there's not enough appropriations to cover that. So we've got that to take care of. We also, I think you're aware, we were awarded a grant for retention with our police officers and everybody. Each one of them gets $4,000. I initially looked at general fund paying the pension payments on that. So that's the direction we're going, but we need to bump up the appropriations for the pension payments by $5,500.
Okay, so that they're not paying pension out of their bonus.
That is our employers.
Yeah, contribution, yes.
So that would be forthcoming for this term.
yeah, the ask would be to provide a detailed explanation of what those changes are to appropriations so that they can be read out in the meeting.
Okay.
Right, I think that goes a long way to
Sure.
dissuading council's concerns regarding skipping readings
I will.
in that situation.
I will have that with the email that goes out on the ordinance for, okay. There's one other thing forthcoming. I can't answer much on this other than there are some changes that have to take place with income tax.
Ooh, excuse me.
So there's an income tax ordinance that has to be passed by January 1st. I don't know what the changes are. We've been trying to get the document out of Rita. They've got it locked up in their security system that we can't get it. And we're not the only municipality that can't. There's a lot of them. We're still trying to get our hands on it to see what it is. So,
What kind of change are we talking
I
here?
don't know. I haven't seen the document. I truly.
They just said like, hold on everyone, things are gonna get crazy. We'll tell you in a month. No, I mean, we're making fun of them at this point. We're not making fun of you.
I just at least want to let you know, we're trying to get our hands on the document, and we will try our best to get something, hopefully by the, if not, let's see, we got a work session when? Thursday?
We have this Thursday.
I don't know if I'll have it, we're trying our best to get it. I'm gonna try and get it, if not, we'll have it by the first meeting, so you'll at least get 3 readings on it. Try to make best on that one, okay?
You mentioned Thursday, so I'm gonna pull you out into a thing where I should have asked you a question earlier. When you were talking about the registration fee, is there just $5 extra that we could be charging for
There's
that?
4 $5 fees that we can add to vehicle registration
Yes.
and VL permissive.
That's what I thought you said, but I was like, that
What
can't
I'm
be
not certain
right.
on is, can we do all 4 of them at once in 1 year, or do we have to space them out or something? So that'll be a conversation we have with Jesse, and we'll get that addressed.
I'm not sure there'd be a hell of a lot of an appetite to do all 4 of them at once, just even from council's point of view, because, you know,
Sure.
registration's what, around $50 now for a vehicle? All of a sudden it jumping to 70, it's like, hey, what's going on? Jumping it up $5 a year or
If you
$10
live
a
outside
year.
of Minerva Park, you won't be paying the 70.
Well, yeah, but we don't. We live inside, and people are used to the going from 60-degree weather to 80 weather is really, really hot. But going from 60 to 65 to 70 to 75 to 80 gets people a lot less
All
hot
those
and
that
bothered.
own a hybrid car pay an additional 100. Those that own an electric car pay an additional 200.
Because you're not paying gas tax at the pump.
Exactly.
Because yeah, you don't spend, what is it, 42 cents a gallon tax? Which, you know, if you're going through 10 gallons a week is $4 times 52 week is $200. It's the exact same, whether you drive an electric or that, as far as your taxes go. I have no problem with that.
For the work session, I try to have available 5-year projections on the water sewer, storm sewer funds and the street fund.
And that's this Thursday, you'll have that by? Cool.
The new storm sewer fee should be showing up on the utility bills for Columbus. Whether we get anything this year or not, I can't say. So I'm not counting on anything this year. It should all start next year. So that's the extent of what I have.
Cool. Did anybody have anything else, any other questions to bring up with Jeffrey? Okay, then, yeah, move to adjourn. All right, everybody have a great night.